Now, big thing for a lot of home gardeners is the idea of making hot compost is just too big of a project to wrap your mind around. Maybe it's the amount of material, maybe it's the maintenance, maybe it is the exercise that's required. Whatever it is, there are reasons why people don't want to make a huge pile all at once. And so the question, what about cold compost, is what you might be asking. And what I'll say is cold compost is not only completely okay to make, it's also potentially even better than hot compost. And in some cases might be preferable. But there are some huge mistakes that people can make here too. So cold compost isn't really an official term, by the way. I'm just referring to compost that you can make that doesn't reach the thermophilic temps. The main downside is just the time that it takes to create compost when you're not heating it up. Remember that heat really speeds up decomposition. But let's say that you don't care about making compost very quickly. You just want to make one pile per year and call it good. What you can do is choose a spot in your yard where you'll toss your coffee grounds, your fruit and veggie peels, and your yard waste material. And then over the course of the season, just build the pile until it reaches around 3 feet in height or about 1 meter high. And once you get to that point, I'd say go ahead and mix it up once. You can do this by flipping the pile to an adjacent spot, or you can try spreading it out and repile it in the same spot. Main thing is that you want to take the pile down and then re-stack it up. And when you do this, you're just looking to manage the moisture content of the materials in the pile. If you crack it open and there's sludge in the middle of the pile and it smells bad, you need to address that by either spreading it out and letting it dry a bit, or mixing in some dried leaves or wood chips or something to soak up the moisture and maybe build some built-up nitrogen. If the materials are bone dry, you need to wet them down, obviously, to make sure that the microbial activity can continue. And then once you restack the pile, you need to keep it covered, probably with a tarp or some cardboard or something. And then the rule is that you stop adding materials to it, because whenever you add new materials, those materials are now on a different timeline, a different track toward decomposing. So you want all of your mixed up compost materials to decompose at roughly the same time. Now, if you can chop up your materials beforehand too, get them a little finely shredded, that is definitely going to help with decomposition speed. But overall, once you've covered up that pile, you don't want to use that stuff for another 6 months to a year. So on a strategic side, if you build a cold compost pile over the course of the spring, you build it, let it decompose all summer long, covered up, of course. And then in the late fall, you can go to spread that compost out a bit over your soil so that it can continue decomposing all winter long in place. If you build a pile in the fall and let it sit all winter, in my climate where it gets really cold during the winter, I'm going to say that you still might want to let it sit all summer long before using it in the garden, mainly to make sure that the weeds have had the chance to sprout in the pile and die off, which is one of the reasons that you're keeping it covered while it ages. If you're certain that you don't have any weed seeds or rhizomes in there, you could probably spread it a bit earlier out across your garden.